Not too long ago, the heavyweight division of the UFC was ruled over by Cain Velasquez. From having the title of the baddest man on the planet and being the face of the company, no one expected that years later, he'd be involved in a high-speed car chase trying to gun someone down. So how the hell did we get there?
And now, the new UFC Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World, Cain
Velasquez made his first court appearance today in connection with those attempted murder charges.
Police say a man shot another driver in a separate car, sending the man to the hospital. Only one arrest was made. Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez.
Facing attempted murder charges.
May legend Cain Velasquez chasing after the man he allegedly shot. You can see the black SUV.
Cain Velasquez is a good man. He's a good person. Hopefully, the real justice gets served in this case. And Cain Velasquez, who is a good man, a good father, a good husband, gets to be at home with his family.
Along with Luke Rockhold in the middleweight division, DC in the light heavyweight, and Cain in the heavyweight division, the American Kickboxing Academy, or AKA, would have 3 champions in 2015. Taking out the likes of Ben Rothwell, Nogueira, and Czech Congo, Cain ran through opponents on his way to the top, going 8-0 before getting a title shot. Cain would capture the heavyweight belt in October of 2010 at UFC 121, and the man he beat was none other than Brock Lesnar, the biggest name in UFC at the time. When Cain beat him, his name gained crazy recognition. I mean, he didn't just beat him, he outclassed Brock, from stand-up to grappling and to ground game. Being a former wrestler, Cain would mix grappling prowess and a high volume of strikes to overwhelm his opponents. One of his biggest attributes was his cardio. For a heavyweight, the dude's cardio was unmatched. Unfortunately, Cain would lose his title just a year later after getting knocked out by JDS, but bounced back after taking out Bigfoot Silva, which set him up for a rematch for the belt. This time around, he'd beat JDS by decision and recapture the belt in December of 2012. He'd go on to defend the belt twice before losing to Fabricio Werdum in 2015, but most people chalk that loss up to high altitude affecting Cain. The fight was in Mexico City, which has an altitude of 7,200 feet above sea level. The air is less dense, and when you don't acclimate your endurance performance, it'll lag behind. During the fight, Cain didn't show that iron lung cardio and looked way more fatigued than usual. He'd return a year later, beating Travis Brown before going away for 3 years due to injuries. Velasquez would make a highly anticipated return in February of 2019. So let's think for a second here. The guy's been out for 3 years, with a career riddled with injuries. Best to give him a warm-up or tune-up fight, right? Possibly the most throw him to the wolves moment ever in UFC. I mean, really, Francis Ngannou first fight back, you get where this is going. We never really got to see the true potential of Cain, as he was always plagued with injuries throughout his career. From a torn rotator cuff to bone spurs and multiple knee surgeries, the guy couldn't catch a break. Still, Cain's UFC run was legendary, and the guy's easily top 5 heavyweight champions of all time. Fast forward a bit, and Cain would secure that WWE bag, transitioning to professional wrestling in 2019. All things going well until in February of 2022, Cain hit the headlines, not for winning a WWE title this time, but for attempted murder. The story really is straight from a movie though. After finding out that a man had sexually abused his 4-year-old son, allegedly, Cain went on a rampage and chased him down. 43-year-old Harry Eugene Goulart was believed to have molested Cain's son at a daycare center which was owned by Goulart's family. Fueled by rage, Velasquez engaged in an 11-mile car chase near San Jose before firing multiple shots with a .40 caliber pistol into a vehicle. The vehicle was carrying Goulart, his mother Patricia Goulart, and his stepfather Paul Bender. Cain rammed the car multiple times and missed his shots, hitting the target's stepfather in the arm and torso. Bender would end up surviving his wounds, and as for Velasquez, he was later arrested and booked into the Santa Clara County Jail on an attempted first-degree murder charge. He'd spend 8 months incarcerated after being denied bail multiple times. As for Harry, a civil lawsuit was filed against him, and he's out on bail after pleading not guilty to child molestation. Now, I'm no lawyer, and innocent until proven guilty, of course, but it's hard to root against Cain here. The charges are true, for sure. Harry is the scum of the earth and is reserved his spot in hell, but I just wish Cain chose to take care of his business with his hands rather than a gun. Like, come on, Cain would have eaten that dude alive in a fight. 6'1", 250 pounds, and former champ, the dude's face would have been unrecognizable if Cain got a hold of him. Instead, in the heat of the moment, he chose to bring out a gun and ultimately did end up shooting an innocent guy and endangering a lot of people. His actions were truly reckless, well, wreckful actually. Jokes aside, Cain being a father, the most important thing in your life is the safety and happiness of your children. So imagine the feeling when your son or daughter comes up and tells you the horror stories that were said to Cain. The kid even said that Harry had taken him to the bathroom multiple times and did so with other kids as well, so it was an ongoing thing. When you're angry, you're not thinking clearly, and Cain let that anger fully consume him in the moment. Cain would get 37 letters of support from the UFC family, including the likes of Dana White, Khabib, DC, and Henry Cejudo. In November of 2022, Cain was granted $1 million bail and placed under house arrest. He was even granted permission from the court to travel to Tempe, Arizona to partake in a Lucha Libre Worldwide Professional Wrestling event. All in all, it sucks to see a guy like Cain in a situation like this. This is the type of stuff you don't wish on your worst enemy. Facing up to 20 years in prison, I hope things work out for the guy, but only time will tell.